The U.S. added 311,000 jobs in February, but as companies shift towards artificial intelligence, Recruiter.com is looking to capitalize. The recruiting company has announced a new offering, Recruiting with ChatGPT, to teach users how to recruit using artificial intelligence. Recruiter.com chairman and CEO Evan Sohn joins us now. Evan, we will get to that ChatGPT offering that you have in just a second, but I first just want to get your take because we just got the jobs report. It came in hotter than expected, depending on how you look at it, with 311,000 jobs and a couple of sectors that have seen job contraction, but overall the other ones are adding jobs. What are you seeing in the front lines?
First off, thanks for having me on your program. Look, it's a very strange market, right? You saw job numbers increase, unemployment increase, labor participation stay the same. So one would say, well, how does that actually happen? If you look at the jobs that were created, we talked about this yesterday about the recruiter index. We saw that 40% of the jobs that recruiters were working on didn't require a college degree. So that would lend itself towards the hospitality jobs, the retail jobs that we're seeing the growth in. And if you look at the numbers in January, the January JOLT numbers, there were 1% fewer hires in January of 23 over 22, and there were 9% fewer quits between January 23 and January 22. So that means that fewer people are quitting, but the same number are getting hired. And again, these are in the millions, right? There were about 3.8 million people quit in January of 23. So 6 million were hired. So people are getting hired, fewer people quitting. That means that there's getting a tighter labor market. Tighter labor market, certainly if you're not having people participate, what we actually think is happening is that you're going back to a time where people had two jobs. And this was very common in the non-white skilled labor. You saw a lot of it in the remote working, people having multiple jobs. But this was common, and this came anecdotally from global heads of talent of our clients in the factories. You'd have a person working a shift Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 40-hour shift in those 3 days, and working at another factory Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And they had the double income, two jobs to make ends meet. You have inflation going up. You have a higher cost of everything, eggs, et cetera. I need more money. Let me go hold down two jobs. And that could actually be what's happening now, is people going back to having two jobs. And that would make sense if you're seeing a flat labor participation, an increase in unemployment, and yet jobs are still getting created.
That's really interesting, Evan. In this case, right, do you have any kind of color through your site as to what kinds of two jobs people might hold? Are we seeing the double job thing move up the income spectrum at all? Talk to me about kind of the details of what you're seeing.
Yeah, so we started tracking the layoffs of industries with a partnership with Revelio Labs. We call it the layoff tracker. And in the layoffs, the percentage of layoffs from December 22 to February 23, obviously IT, about 24% of the layoffs were in IT, but about 22.5% were actually in manufacturing. The other thing we started to look at is job posts. The percentage of job posts changes from over 12-month period, year over year. So you had IT down like 5.7% in terms of job posts from a year ago to now. Transportation and warehousing down 2%, yet retail was up 4%, and healthcare up about 1.5%. So you're seeing, that's looking at the trends. If there are more jobs open in certain sectors, they're going to have more jobs available, more jobs posted now than they did a year ago. And again, I think the challenge that we all have is really extrapolating all this information, right? Because you're seeing companies post multiple jobs for the same role. If you were looking for a nurse for a particular hospital, a particular city, you might actually post that job 4 or 5 times. That city, the neighboring cities, the county, et cetera. Yet there's still only one job that's open there. So I think there's a real interesting way to look at all this information, and I think it's going to evolve.
And going off of that point of posting a job multiple times, I mean, are these jobs hard to fill? When you're talking about services, hospitality, retail, how hard is it for employers to fill them?
Yeah, so you're certainly seeing that in healthcare. Healthcare has its own challenges. There's credentialing and licensing and background checks and all these other things that sort of happen in the healthcare space that adds complexity there. I think people were having trouble not filling them, but keeping them. There was a much bigger, in 22, a much bigger quit rate. We're still seeing quit rates above where they were in 2019. So we're still seeing a higher quit rate, but that's really the challenge. And I think the segment on right before, talking about retention. And we've been predicting that 23 is a really big conversation around how do you keep employees from leaving. It's so easy to apply for a job. If you think the difference when, 40 years ago, if you applied for a job, you printed up a resume, you mailed in the resume, or you looked at a classified ad, you phoned it in, you went in and out, it was a process. It was a much more elongated process. Today, it's click, 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 click. It's very easy to apply for a job. So companies are being inundated with applications. So that's not really the challenge. So on the one hand, it's the challenge at the top of the funnel, making sure you have qualified folks that align with what you're looking for, but it's also about keeping them. So really reducing this great resignation that started really post-pandemic or in the pandemic, followed by the job hopper economy where people moving around from job to job.
And you also want to get the best person from the position. And apparently you guys are working on using or helping people use ChatGPT to write the posts. So how does it help? How is it helpful?
Yeah, so the first is we announced and launched recruiterclasses.com. So there's a real need for recruiters to always improve their overall skills and improve their ability and their learning ability. And we launched a platform with the first course in it was how to leverage ChatGPT, really just off the shelf ChatGPT, how to leverage it and use it. That's a class that's available. We now have, it's a third-party platform also, so meaning we have third parties writing classes to go into this platform. We just added our next one for big wins for executive recruiting. And so we're going to continue to make tools and make it easier for recruiters to do their job. The challenge today is that companies have laid off lots and lots of recruiters. So many recruiters are being asked to do more with less. And ChatGPT as a technology, we could train people on how to use it to really help them do things like writing job descriptions, et cetera. And you'll see other things that we're working on regarding around the technology. We've always been at the forefront of helping recruiters. We are recruiter.com, a destination site for recruiters and for the companies and individuals looking to seek out recruiters. And so we're going to continue to make investments to really help recruiters do their jobs, better, stronger, and faster.
And people finding lots of creative ways to use ChatGPT these days, for sure, amongst all the other stuff you were talking about. Recruiter.com Chairman and CEO Evan Sohn, thank you.